already got enough copyright strikes. Got one. So this might be another one of those voiceover. Nothing you haven't seen before. Just keep it in motion. All right, so this is the first exercise. We're starting off with the pec fly machine, Life Fitness. Pretty much the standard. This is what you're going to see anywhere you go. It's a good machine. It does what it needs to do. Old Faithful. I already did voiceovers on this, but I do not know what happened to the recordings. They're gone. So we're going to do it again. And on the uploaded version that I had, I got a copyright strike. Video got blocked. So what I did on this particular week, worked my way up, finished off with 205 pounds, which I thought was pretty good. This week I got 220 pounds, so I'm progressing on this nicely. So yeah. And you're going to see after this, once I warm up here, I'm set to go. And then I hit the dumbbell incline for one set, and that's it. All right, working my way up to 205 on there. I just did sets of 5. Some people may be saying that's kind of heavy. Traditionally, I've always done sets of 3 to 5. Oh, excuse me, 3 to 5. Pretty much going as high as 8. I just started then last year going on leg extensions and some leg exercises 12 to 15, sometimes 20. So, but I usually go that heavy. I feel a lot better though doing that on the flies. I haven't done that in the past. I just started doing it. I feel it better though. So once it gets to a certain point though, obviously the reps got to go up. Once you get to a certain point, that keeping the reps that low, you'll tear something, you'll snap something up. So yeah, don't be afraid to do a little bit more. That's just what I'm doing right now. All right, so now I'm setting up here with the 110-pound dumbbells, I believe. The week after this, yes, this is already 2 weeks old. The week after this, I actually used the 115-pound dumbbells. I did a voiceover, but none of that saved. So when I uploaded the video, if you saw it, they quickly hit me with a copyright strike and hid the video from you guys. So I'm re-uploading it. That's why it's going up late. So I'm going to hit y'all back to back with some stuff. But the 115 that I did the following week went up way easier than this. So God willing, we'll see how it goes this week. What I'm trying to do here is, warm up with the flies and then do one working set, high intensity style, which has been working for me. However, years ago at this point, when me and my boy Jose was happening, we need to go back through the blood and guts trainer. Okay, if you're watching this, we got to do it. But when we went through that, the only thing that I felt suffered was my upper chest. And not that it suffered because I didn't lose anything. I just didn't progress on it the way I wanted to. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting in my one set, which I definitely got massively strong on that program. But I just get a little bit more volume by adding in some machines. And by some machines, I mean one machine, the hammer strength incline, which you will see. I just pretty much do a warm up or two on there and then repeat the process just to get used to the movement pattern. So you see here, I'm like shaking and everything. I should have recorded that 115 set because it was smooth. I didn't know it would be so much smoother than this set because I elected to go up. But anyway, this is what we're working with. I was pleased. I've been kind of hitting a little bit of a stride probably just the last 2 weeks where I've been feeling pretty strong. So that's good. I'm going to try to get some footage at Powerhouse Pittsburgh because I've been going there with my cousin. So, all right. Yeah. Was getting ready to start my last set. Decided to check Facebook. Saw some good news on there. So I said I'll leave a comment. And I was starting to feel like, all right, phone's getting to be a distraction because I was typing this message and I had to put emojis on there and all that, because people can't hear text. Dude, I go to start my set there's this huge spider dangling right next to me. It's like this huge tan yellow looking spider. Playing on the phone saved my life, man. Saved my life. All right, so now I'm hitting the incline presses here on the hammer strength machine, which now it's been 2 weeks since I recorded this video. I told you guys the original footage got flagged, but I realized that I accidentally deleted the recorded portions anyway, so I was always going to have to re-upload this. Anyways, so yesterday I used the Arsenal incline press, which was actually pretty good. The important thing is to hit the movement. So I didn't do any dumbbell pressing yesterday, but I did still use that machine, and it just amounted to me doing working myself up to 2 top sets because it was a new machine for me versus doing the flies, which I did get 210 pounds on the flies. I used a reflex fly machine, which is so beautiful and so smooth. I'm kind of jealous, but it sucks because it only goes up to 220 pounds. Because of my height, it works perfect for me. I can see why a lot of people want to emulate that design because it is a little bit smaller. So if you're taller than me, you're probably going to struggle on it. But yeah, so I did that. And then, of course, this is the wide press, which I do to hit the main portion of the pecs. I try to hit those movements, the flies. All right, forgot to get the cable crossovers. That's cool. Doing dumbbell pullovers on an incline, mainly because I can't lay across the bench because I have herniated disc in different places. So laying over the bench has been a no-go for like 10 years. So I always do them like this. Feels good because of the size of my rib cage. I definitely feel these more in the lats if I'm not careful. I definitely get a good stretch, but it's important to focus on, if you're doing it for chest, using the chest for the movement, stretching the chest out in the movement. And the more narrow your rib cage is, the more difficult that can be. It was an old school exercise people said would expand your rib cage, which is impossible after puberty. Since I learned about this while I was in puberty, I probably should have did more, but kind of squandered those years away and just didn't do it. If I could go back, I definitely would. So people kept saying I kept reading it was pointless. It was pointless. Meanwhile, it was only pointless if I was older than I was. So if you happen to see this and you're a teenager, do them. Progress on them. Eventually get heavy on them. Bigger rib cage, bigger chest, bigger lung capacity, this, that, and the third. Get as much growth as you can. I don't know if it's going to take you from a Frank Zane rib box to an Arnold Schwarzenegger, but could have ran that experiment for y'all, but I folded. All right, so here are the dumbbell pullovers. Because of my rib cage, they hit my lats a little bit more directly, but I'm able to still use them to focus and address the chest. I wish I did more of these during puberty because maybe I could have expanded my rib cage. They kept saying it was a useless exercise in that you can't expand your rib cage during puberty, so I didn't really focus on them. Well, after puberty. So I didn't focus like I needed to. But being an idiot, I should have because I was in puberty. Oh well, I missed that by several years now. But this is one of the exercises that I use. So if you've heard me say that on my chest day, I'm able to get some lat stimulation. This is part of the reason why. And when I spoke to an individual about this, he referenced a study on flat bench pressing, which I don't do, and detailed how it's not enough lat stimulation, if any, and how a lot of people mix their serratus up for their lats. He kind of got lost in the sauce on this one, and I tried to tell him that it doesn't matter because I don't do flat bench pressing, and I do an exercise that directly stimulates my lats. And of course, the broader context on this was frequency and hitting muscle groups more than once in a week, because I told him I still hit everything directly once in the week, but my exercise selection is what lets me get away with that. And of course, here are the dips, and I couldn't find the belt, but eventually I did, so I was able to add some weight to it. But the important thing is exercise selection and not missing the principles for the letter of what's being said, and more on that later. All right, I'm gonna finish chest with some dips. Now, I don't think I adjusted this on camera. No, I did. one other time. Literally last time I did one of these videos, I think that was the only time. But with the dips, body weight dips are too easy, and you can't add, well, you don't have a belt to add weight, which I do have a belt to add weight. I just never bring it. You could hold your, lift your knees up and hold them in front of you, like Vince Gironda suggests, which does make it a lot harder. Usually when I have clients that dips are just way too easy for them, I have them do that, and it solves the issue. I'm not at that point, to be honest. One point I could, but it's been a minute, and at this point I'm just so fatigued. Just holding in that position makes me tired, but you could definitely do that. Maybe I'll demonstrate that when I'm fresh on a different day, just so y'all see what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with the Gironda dip, but Vince Gironda definitely innovated for his day. He's dead now, by the way. If you don't know who Vince Gironda is, then you're slipping. So go find out. All right. Put a lot of people game on a whole lot of things. So, yeah. All right. Found it, by the way. Oh wait, I don't think I'm vertical. Screw it. All right. So the important thing is exercise selection and the totality of the week, because a lot of muscle groups already get addressed to and spoken to throughout the week. So for instance, Monday I hit legs. Well, if you're squatting, your back's going to be involved already in just stabilizing that squat, right? And then of course I directly use pullovers on my chest day. It's going to speak to them again. Thursday I have a back day, so the lats are directly spoken to with intent. So what is the focus of this? Why am I saying this? Because a lot of people are looking at these studies and listening to people like Mundy, Chris Beardsley, Mike Israetel, Brett Contreras, etc., and they're not understanding the principles that are at play, and they're getting the letter of the law but missing the spirit of the law, so to speak. Same way it happens at church sometimes, right? And if you read the Bible, you see that there's a lot of rebuke going on because people have always had that kind of issue, right? So that's what I'm saying. Now, every time I touch this phone and pick it up, I press something, I have no idea what's going on. All right, so obviously, I don't always show y'all the biceps. I always show you the chest stuff, never the bicep stuff. Usually what I've been doing is just curling anywhere from 55 to 65 pounds a day. I'm doing 60 with the dumbbells, alternating dumbbell curls. Once those get too heavy, going into the hammer curls. I just started last week going into the pinwheel or the crossbody hammer curls. Once that gets too tiring, to work on the brachioradialis. I used to do those all the time years ago. Stopped doing it, but when I did the video on Snap Fitness, I was actually looking in the mirror. It's one of the few times I got that particular angle, and I noticed I had some development there. So I really want to work on it because it actually looked pretty impressive. I think that was that was actually when my weight dropped to 229. So yeah, so I was starting to see some things that I hadn't seen. I also saw some new veins the other day, and my weight was actually a little bit higher than that. So yeah, I'm noticing some things. I haven't been focused on arms in a long time, haven't been prioritizing them. So we'll see. But that's what I've been doing. Sometimes, a lot of times, I don't go through the whole arm workout. I just do 2 sets of the hammer curls. I mean, the alternating / hammer curl, that little superset, and then leaving. Haven't been hitting them hard at all. So I think I'll get back into that, see what we can do within the year, the details that come out, and if I get any more size on them. Haven't really been thinking about it. All right, so this isn't my favorite machine. This line from Cybex has stuff I like and stuff I don't like. This is like the VR2. I just don't like how they tried to implement the convergence, dual access type stuff they got going on some of their machines in this line. Cybex is a good line though. Like this particular machine is just a little awkward for me because of my wrist and everything, so I don't like it, even though I like the idea of it. But if you see it on sale, I'm not going to take it to buy it. Does that make sense? Because it's not a bad machine. It's a me problem with the machine. But it's really in the wrist, because the way I'm able to rotate my wrist at the proper angle that I need, I can actually hit the biceps the way I need to. So the concept is great. It's just probably for my structure and the way I'm put together, my biomechanics, the implementation of some of the machines is not that great. Or I just didn't learn how to use them properly because I suck. That's a great possibility too. But that's a basic bicep workout for me. All right, I'm probably going to do some reverse curls just to see how that goes. So I'm gonna just put this anywhere. If it stays up, good. If it doesn't, oh well, I guess. All right, so I'll put the thing up on the dumbbell rack. I usually don't do reverse curls, but I may start doing them just to work on my forearms and everything. I think I also did some like wrist curls at one point, not with the bar, but the dumbbell. So I may start working on my forearms and everything. Just adding size and getting bigger, thicker, more impressive. One thing is, when you have long arms, you got to fill them out. Like, you can't do the arm straight out crucifix pose. You can't do the arms overhead victory pose when your arms look thin. You know what I mean? So they got to be looking thick. You know what I mean? You got to have them looking great. You understand? They got to look like you got legs for arms. So, yeah. You know, watching the pants hug the calves is kind of crazy because I don't feel like my calves are that impressive. But that's probably just like the flow of the pants or something. Anyways, enough of all that. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. For coaching, please go down to the description. If you're interested in any products as far as from Valor Fitness, I did talk about that in a video. I think you can still pre-order the compact rack they got coming out. Got the little code for you down in the description if you need any access to any research chemicals to do some research and evaluate things. Just remember, they're not for human consumption. So if you're a human, please do not consume them. By default, you're probably a human watching this, but that link is also down there too. Help me, help the channel, and get your research on. How you want to act.